Yeah, and I think Chuck Woolery.
Oh God, are we going to talk about washed up game show hosts?
Yeah. We got to talk about. This is the crazy of the 21st century is that I'm name dropping Chuck Woolery in a blog conversation. but this is the level of sophisticated discourse regarding religion and politics. But look, Chuck Woolery made mainstream news for those of you who are watching this who didn't know by tweeting. Well, he made many interesting tweets. But he says I'm a self-described conservative, 80s game show host, Love Connection, and he brought up these memes that we've been talking about, and one of the tweets was, well, all Muslims are not terrorists, but nearly all terrorists are Muslims. Dispute that, and we can dispute that. Like the facts show that 56% of terror plots in America were actually committed by exactly these type of radical right-wing groups. I think in the last 12, 15 years, I think it's about 12 to 16% that have been perpetrated by Islamic, quote-unquote, Islamic terrorists. But again, the rise in hate groups, the Southern Poverty Law Center has been following this. We have almost, 1,200 hate groups now, Sarah, which is like a record number. There was a record number in 2011, and unfortunately we broke our own record in 2012. And the rise in hate groups are the three groups that I mentioned, white supremacist groups, radical anti-government groups, and anti-immigrant groups. Many of these people, fit a certain profile, quote-unquote profile, of being, the angry, white, conservative males. And many of them, when you ask them about their religion, it's usually Christian. So, first of all, Chuck Woolery was wrong, but it goes to the point where we don't want to have that type of conversation. We're very, comfortable labeling and categorizing and defining terror and terrorism and radicalization when it comes to the brown face, the Muslim face, the devout face, the Islami face. But if you want to talk about effective policing, if you really want to get to the root of fighting radicalization, which affects Muslims also, for those people who are watching this, I don't think, neither you and I are denying the fact that this reality exists, unfortunately, in some Muslim communities. It exists. And it affects all people, especially Muslims also. I mean, if that, look at that Saudi kid, that poor 21-year-old Saudi kid whose crime was to run away from an explosion, right? That's why he was a suspect, because he ran away from an explosion. If he was close to that explosion, he would be killed. So, these people, in defending Islam, would kill their own quote-unquote Muslim brothers, right? So the point I'm trying to say is Muslims, just like Americans, have a vested interest in this because Muslims also die in acts of terror. But, the net...
And did in 9/11.
Yeah, even 9/11, yeah, but the net that is cast, the burden of these criminal acts is borne out by, if you will, the majority of Muslims and Muslim Americans who have nothing to do with extremism, right? It's like I always mention, like the anvil, we're like Daffy Duck, the anvil always drops on our head, whereas when it's like a white radical or white terrorist member, the white majority is like Bugs Bunny. They can just walk around eating a carrot, relax, because they're never asked to, defend, explain, they're never investigated, their whiteness is never interrogated, they're never asked, do you have specialized knowledge as to why one of your fellow white brethren committed this act, even sometimes when they do it in the name of whiteness. So I think this is where we're at right now, and it really is a hindrance in actually effective policing. If we really sincerely truly care about our national security, these language, these definitions, these narratives really need to be unpacked and rewritten so we can kind of like chart a more nuanced history, a nuanced path forward that appreciates the complexity and also that trickles down, you like how I use that Reagan reference, trickles down to more effective policing. And of course...